Hello friends, welcome to BioHub once again. Today we will be learning a new chapter from the class 8 lesson of your ICSE board. I have done many videos on class 6 and you can go and check it on my YouTube channel. So today we will be learning a chapter named Transport in Plants. Now it is a very interesting chapter where we will be learning how food and minerals are transported in plants. So let's get started. So, transport in plants. Now, plants for their food, they need to perform a function, a process. Do you know what that process is? Yes, you guessed it right. It is photosynthesis. It is a very vital function in plants. And this is the process by how plants make their own food. Now for this they need water, they need carbon dioxide, they need minerals and sunlight. Now water and minerals are taken from the soil, carbon dioxide is taken from the atmosphere, and sunlight is obviously taken from the sun. Now over here I have a small replica of a plant, though I cannot bring a whole tree with me. So I only have a small replica of plant to tell you that how the transportation takes place. Now if over here there is the root, then what will happen is that from the root the minerals and soil will be transported upwards to the parts of the leaf where the process of photosynthesis will take place. And the moment the process of photosynthesis has been taken place and the food is totally prepared, the food will be transported to other parts of the plant. Unlike humans, plants don't have a circulatory system. There is no blood and vessels in the plants. So they have some specialized tissues known as vascular tissues, and these are the xylem and the phloem. Now what are xylem and phloem? Xylem and phloem are very specialized tissues which are for the transporting system of the plants. Xylem consists of tracheids, vessels and xylem parenchyma. Now xylem tracheids are actually dead cells of xylem. They are thick, very thick, and they have a pit in them. And through that pit the water and minerals get transferred. Xylems are always on the central of the vascular bundle. Vascular bundle is the one which is total. The xylem and the phloem together, they are known as the vascular bundle. What are xylem vessels? Xylem vessels are also composed of dead cells, but they are continuous and they have the both ends are open. So they are continuously joined with one another, and this helps in the transportation of water and minerals. They together help in transporting the water and minerals. Xylem parenchyma is the only living component in xylem tissues. It stores reserved food materials like starch and fat. Next is phloem. Now in phloem, the two parts or the two parts of phloem are sieve tubes and companion cells. Now both of them are made up of living components. Sieve tube helps in transportation of sucrose and minerals, and it has perforated sieve plates over there which helps in the transportation. Whereas companion cells, they are nucleated cells which help only in to control the metabolic activities of the phloem. Now, the whole root system of the plants. We will come to the very final stage of the absorption of water by plants. And the plants absorb water mainly with the help of roots. This whole root system consists of a main root branch along with many root hairs. Now what are root hairs? Root hairs are extensions of the epidermal cells, or they are the outgrowths of the outer membrane of the root. They are unicellular, delicate, and they change their cells very frequently. Now let's see a diagrammatic representation of these root hairs and how they conduct the water and transport it to the plants. Now you see over here, This is the root hair. These are the soil particles. From here, it absorbs the water and the water moves in this direction. This is the root cortex. These are the phloem and this is the xylem. So this part forms the vascular bundle. Now, how the water is conducted, the water is transported by the root hair. It is transported through a process called osmosis. Now, what is osmosis? Let us take an example. Tank A, tank B. Tank A has sugar solution, tank B has normal water. Now, from which tank to which tank the water will move? Very good. It will move from B to A, and only the solvent particles, that is the water, will move from B to A, because it's a semi-permeable membrane is attached over here in the middle. This same thing appears in case of the root hair. The soil, from the soil, the water is taken, it is moved to the cell membrane of the root hair. Now the cell membrane allows only the small water molecules to pass and never allows the soil particles to move. Thus the cell membrane over here is a semi-permeable membrane. I hope you understand the concept of osmosis applied over here. Start. I hope you understood the diagrammatic representation. Now see, when the water is coming into the root hair cell membranes, the root hair cell membranes are getting swollen up. Now beside the cortical cells are there, they are getting constricted. Water is moving to the cortical cells, and then by the cell to cell osmosis it is moving to the other cells. Now then it's reaching the xylem. Once it reaches the xylem transports the water in the upward direction. It transports the water only in one direction, that is the upward direction. So it took the water, transports it to the stem, branches, leaves over there, and over here the transportation of water is successfully done. Now what is the differentiation between osmosis and diffusion? In osmosis and diffusion the concept is same, that is from the higher concentration the substance moves to the lower concentration, but in diffusion there is no use of semi-permeable membrane, but in osmosis semi-permeable membrane is a must thing. Minerals are also a very important component for the plants. Minerals are also absorbed from the soil. Now generally the mineral concentration in the root hair is much higher than in the soil. So actually it is not through osmosis that is minerals coming to the soil. It comes through a process called active transportation. Now what is active transport? Suppose take an example that you have a tank A over here and tank B over here. Tank A has 1 liter of water and tank B has 500 milliliter of water. Now obviously because tank A has more water, so water will flow from tank A to tank B, but you want the water to flow from B to A, that is from lower to higher. Okay, so obviously you have to do some energy, use some energy for that. So in the same case, minerals are generally in higher concentration in the root hair and lower concentration, they have a lower concentration in the soil. But then also minerals are transported from the soil to the root hair using active transport, which uses ATP, adenosine triphosphate, as the energy. So this energy is required for the active transportation of the minerals from the soils to the root hair. Sometimes diffusion is there, but this is generally when the soil has a higher concentration of minerals, but this is a very rare case. Mainly active transportation occurs in case of the transport of minerals. The continuous inward flow of water through the root hair creates a root pressure in the plant, which helps in the transport of water and minerals. Also when transpiration happens, transpiration also creates an upward pull to help in the transport of water and minerals to the plant. Now this water and minerals, when it is moving, it's called the sap. sap which is containing the water and the mineral, when the sap is moving up in the plant, this is known as the ascent of sap. Ascent, it's moving up, ascent of sap. Now, what are the benefits of this transportation? First of all, see, there is transportation is happening. There is the plants and the minerals, both are moving up to the plant. Second is it helps in the process of food production. That is, your oxygen is getting produced, the plants is liberating the oxygen which we are using, all the animals are using. And second of all, transpiration which is there, which actually creates evaporation, actually helps in cooling the plant. Now, what is transpiration? Transpiration is the loss of the water, the excess water from the aerial parts of the plant in the form of water vapor. Transpiration exerts a transpiration pull in the plant which helps in transport of the water and minerals in the plant. Now, if there is a lot of transpiration in the plant, so means water is actually getting more loss of water is there, then the leaves gets dried up and the plant gets wilted. Now, what factors affect transpiration? Time of day or night. If it's daytime, more transpiration occurs than the night time. If the temperature is hotter, transpiration will be more. In cold winter days, it is very less transpiration. If the weather is humid, that is the weather itself contains a much of moisture or water vapor, transpiration will be less. And if there is a high wind speed, transpiration will be more, because as soon as the water vapor is lost, the wind is moving it, so more water vapor is lost over there. Transpiration creates cooling effect to the plant and also helps in transportation of the water and minerals. And next is translocation of food. Translocation of food means when the food is prepared, the food is transported to various parts of the plant. This function is done by the phloem. The sieve tubes of the phloem are connected one after the other, and the food is transported in both direction, upward as well as down, because the roots also need the food, the leaves also need the food, every part of the plants need the food, unlike xylem, in which only in upward direction the water moves. So remember, this is very important. And here the chapter ends. So I hope you have understood the chapter. I will very sure recently bring another chapter in class 8. Till then, stay safe. Thank you.